The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games were missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT. And I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now it is currently 2:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in sunny South Florida, the best place you could be in the world. You know, I want to let you guys know in advance. If you hear any background noise, that's my homie. He's over there streaming on Twitch, so you might hear some expletives and some talking from my boy Juan Pablo. But yeah, it's gonna be a great show today. I have a lot I want to talk about. I have a lot I want to discuss in regards to obviously this upcoming week, the weeks to come, and even I had a chance to watch Pedraza versus Molina recently, so that's what it is there. But shout out to everybody here. Just a couple of things I want to get to before I really get into the live. Number one, I'll be live Saturday. We'll be live for Dorticos versus Breedis in the afternoon. We'll be live for obviously the Charlo fight, and it's just gonna be a great time. So make sure you tune into that. But let's see, do we get that? We got check out the Jason Rosario content, all the Jason Rosario content that's out. Go check that out. Go check out just everything coming out here on True School Sports. There's lots of content coming out here on True School Sports. We'll start with
That's me. Yes.
We'll start with last week. Devin Haney, not Devin Haney. Last week, Jose Pedraza. I had a chance to watch this fight yesterday. Had a chance to.
And good job on my teammate.
I had a chance to watch Jose Pedraza just yesterday against Javier Molina, and he boxed really, really, really well. Jose Pedraza is a guy that I'll be honest with you, I've been very hard on him in the past because he's like one of the only like top Puerto Rican fighters we have right now, and you can make the argument that he's probably been the most consistent Puerto Rican fighter of the last 3-4 years. He's been in big fights. He's been winning world titles, but I've still been hard on him because in the fights that mattered, you know, like the one against Lomachenko, the one against Gervonta Davis, he came up short and he didn't box so well. But this is a guy that's beaten Ray Beltran. He was fighting a guy. He had. This was a good crossroads fight because Pedraza is a guy who's a bit older. You have Molina coming off of a win against Amir Imam, a career defining win at that point in his career. You know, U.S. Olympian. So he was coming into this fight with a lot of momentum. And Pedraza, to me, I thought this fight was the best performance of his career. We saw him boxing from the orthodox stance. We saw him boxing from the southpaw stance. We saw Pedraza countering him. We saw Pedraza just being that, you know, what his nickname says he is, which is a sniper. He was an absolute sniper in this fight. And I was really impressed. I was really impressed. So, you know, that's a good win for him at 140. You know, I'm sure Top Rank, ESPN, and all parties involved are going to look to move Pedraza into some bigger fights in the future. I'm not exactly sure who he should fight next. I just know that now with that win and the Mikel Lespierre win, he's in a good run of form. So maybe he could be a potential opponent for a Jose Ramirez or Josh Taylor or somebody else in the Top Rank stable. But overall, I thought this was the best performance of his career. The fact that he showed the ability to box in so many different ways. So yeah, hold on a second. Give me 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second. Yeah, he boxed really well. So yeah, shout out to Pedraza. But honestly, look, I don't want to spend too much time on Pedraza. I want to get to Devin the Dream Haney. Okay, I want to get to Devin Haney because I was talking to my main man H Money, Mr. DAZN. And you know what? Listen, I was talking to H Money. H Money was on here. He said, Brendan, True School Sports, you gotta talk about Devin the Dream Haney. So I'm gonna channel my inner H Money. All right. So I'm gonna do the H Money introduction, and then we're gonna talk about Devin Haney fighting Gamboa, and we're gonna talk about Devin Haney being ducked by Gary Russell. So here we go. We'll count down 3, 2, 1, and then I'll be H Money. So 3, 2, 1. What's going on? It's your boy BT, the untouchable.
Oh boy.
Devin the Dream Haney versus Yukioris Gamboa on November 7th. Devin the Dream Haney, the youngest millionaire in boxing. Devin the Dream Haney, the youngest world champion in boxing. Devin the Dream Haney offered Gary Russell Jr. $1.5 million. And what did Gary Russell do? He's ducking Devin Haney. He's ducking Devin the Dream Haney. We in the building, bro. We in the building. That's my H Money impression. My bad. That's my H Money impression for those of you who don't know. But I wanted to talk about Devin Haney because
Let me get that.
he's obviously a big topic of discussion here on YouTube. Devin Haney, one of the youngest and brightest talents in all boxing. He's someone that people are very interested in seeing what he's going to do with his career. And I'm not surprised at all that he's fighting Gamboa. In fact, I never once for a second thought that he was ever going to fight Gary Russell Jr. Even if Gary Russell would have taken the 1.5, I still don't think they would have fought Gary Russell Jr. Just because it would have been a bad look for Haney. I'm not sure he'd want that. Even though Russell's a name, I don't believe that Team Haney would want Gary Russell, the name, at the expense of being criticized and whatnot. That's just my opinion. But as far as did Gary Russell duck Devin Haney, I didn't want to. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't want to believe it at first. I didn't want to believe that Gary Russell was ducking Devin Haney. I thought Gary Russell was going to keep the same energy. I thought he was going to take the 1.5. I thought it was just a matter of Bill Haney, DHP, Devin Haney Promotions getting all of their terms situated and settled. But as we've come to find out, as we've heard through the grapevine, Russell got the term sheet. He got the terms that he asked for, and he still turned on the fight. And I don't think that fight's not going to happen, and it's not surprising because if we look at the career of Gary Russell Jr., this is a guy that, in my humble opinion, as talented as he is, I think he's a very lazy fighter. I think he's lazy. I think he doesn't want to fight the top guys. If he does, his actions haven't proven that. Over the last, I don't know how many years he's been champion. He's been fighting like the Patrick Highlands of the world, and he's been fighting Oscar Escandón, who's shorter than me. He hasn't really shown that true ambition to go out there and fight these guys. And not even just that. It's not even the amount of times that it's not even who he's fighting. It's the amount of times he's fighting per year. He's developed a very horrible reputation year after year in boxing of only fighting once a year. He fights early in the year. He fights maybe first 6 months of the years, and then we don't hear anything about Gary Russell Jr. for like a good 10 months, and then he fights again. A year, and then he fights again. This is probably the most time we've spent talking about Gary Russell Jr. here in the YTBC over the last couple of years, because that's just how irrelevant he becomes after he fights. He goes on these long-ass vacations. So it's not surprising. Gary Russell Jr. is a lazy fighter. Gary Russell Jr., in my humble opinion, I think now that I've had time to dissect things and just see how everything's played out, I do think it was a cloud chase. I do think it was a publicity stunt. I do think that he doesn't want any smoke with Devin Haney. And I didn't want to say that because I'll be honest with you. I'll be the first one to tell you guys. I've been getting a bit agitated with the Devin Haney hype on YouTube. Not to say that he's not a talented fighter, because he is, but I think a lot of people on YouTube have been gassing up how good he actually is to try to get these fights made, because these fights have been happening for whatever the case may be. So
I'm playing like shit.
I want to Gary Russell this fight. I probably would have rooted for Gary Russell, but honestly, like this whole Gary Russell situation has left a sour taste in my mouth. And it's kind of already validated what I already knew about him, what I already believed about him, which was that he's a talented fighter. Yes, he's a guy that was a top class amateur. Yes, but he never fully transitioned to being a great pro. He never showed the ambition to be a consistently elite fighter in boxing. Because he's how many times a year do we really sit back and think about it? How often do we as boxing fans think about what Gary Russell will be doing in his next fight? We don't. So yeah, I'm not surprised by it. As for Devin Haney fighting Gamboa, I'm not happy with that either, to be honest with you. I'm mad at Gary Russell Jr. for turning down this fight. I thought it was a clown move. I really don't want to hear much of what he has to say, because I've been hearing him talk so damn much the last couple of weeks. I heard him talk about Crawford. I heard him talk about now Devin Haney, and he still ain't got no fights lined up. He just walking around in some random ass gym in Maryland, not fighting anybody. So I really don't care much for Gary Russell Jr. as far as to what he's doing next with his career, unless he's going to announce a fight that is better than Devin Haney, or a fight that is better than Terrence Crawford, or somebody elite in his weight class. So not really excited about that. But as for Devin Haney Gamboa, I'm not happy about that either, because this is a Gamboa who we saw Gamboa fight Tank Davis. The guy had one leg. You know, Stacey McKinley, God bless Stacey McKinley, had to wrap his leg up in the corner. He did excellent corner work to keep Gamboa going in that fight. But I'm not excited about that fight either. That fight to me is also trash because Devin Haney is a young, budding superstar. Devin Haney is a guy that people look at as an A-level fighter, and I get why he's fighting Gamboa. It's a common opponent with Gervonta Davis. But I don't think he's gonna fight. I don't think the Gervonta Davis fight is gonna happen either. So I don't see what's the point of this fight happening. You're just gonna fight a guy who is shot right now. He was shot 3 years ago when he lost to Robinson Castellanos, who has like 12 losses. It's a bad fight, and I really don't see much of what Haney could actually gain from fighting Gamboa. You know, is this Gamboa? And I'm talking about from a straight boxing perspective. Is this Gamboa? Is this Gamboa even a fighter that can go in there against Devin Haney and give him like quality rounds that are going to contribute to the ring experience of Devin Haney? I don't think so. I really don't think so. So November 7th, that's the day they're talking about. I'm not too excited about November 7th, to be honest with you. So the Devin Haney Gary Russell fiasco, it was a crock of shit. And it's led to a crock of shit fight. So that's just my opinion, but I wish Devin Haney success. Hopefully this could be a stepping stone for him, as Gamboa is the biggest name he's fought in his career. There's other names at lightweight he can go fight. You know, they have guys like you got Rolly, you got Michelle Rivera, you got Teofimo Lopez, you got Lomachenko, you got Comey, you got Felix Verdejo. You know, obviously here on True School Sports, I've been pushing for that Felix Verdejo fight. I'd love to see Devin Haney go in there with a guy like Felix Verdejo, with his pedigree. With I know he lost early in his career, but he's obviously a better fighter now, and he's in a much more mature place. So I think Verdejo in that fight would be a lot better for Devin Haney. You know what I'm saying? Even Comey. You know, these are the kind of fights we want to see Devin Haney in. We don't want to see him fight the one-legged Gamboas, as that's not going to do anything for him in his career, and it's damn sure not going to do anything for boxing at large. By the way, I want to shout out everybody who's here. Shout out to my main man Intangible Boxing News. Shout out to Jesus M, and shout out to my man Jesse. So moving along, I'm gonna get to some comments. So if you guys got any comments, leave them down below. I will get to them at some point. I just got a lot I want to run through and a lot I want to talk about. So yeah, leave your comments down below, and I will get to them at some point. But moving along from Devin Haney, because we can't spend a whole lot talking about Devin Haney. I'm not H Money. I can't talk about Devin Haney for 3 hours. I don't like him. I'm not as big a fan of him as H Money or any of these other guys in the YouTube boxing community. But one guy that I am a big fan of, and y'all know this. Y'all know I love this guy. Y'all know that this guy is one of my favorite fighters. The real TBE. That's what we call him here on True School Sports. The real TBE.
Oh, man.
It was reported that the real TBE, Roman Chalatito Gonzalez, will be returning to the ring. You know, we knew that he was coming back soon, but we didn't know when. But it's been announced. All right, it's been announced, and we now know who he's fighting. And this is a great fight. This is an amazing fight.
Yeah,
Roman Chalatito Gonzalez will be coming back against Israel Gonzalez, who's ranked number 4 by the WBA. He's ranked number 4 by the WBA, and Israel Gonzalez, for those of you who don't know, very good fighter, tough fighter. You know, this is a guy in Israel Gonzalez that, depending on who you talk to, you could look at him as the uncrowned WBA flyweight champion, because before Chalatito fought Calify and folded him up like a blue steel chair, Israel Gonzalez fought Calify in 2018 in Monaco, and I thought he beat Calify. I thought he beat him pretty soundly too, and I thought that Calify was very fortunate to get out of that fight with a decision. In fact, you know, every year here on True School Sports, I do my end of the year award show, and I have a robbery of the year category. And that fight with Israel Gonzalez and Calify, it won robbery of the year. I thought it was that bad of a robbery, you know. And this is going to be a tough fight for Roman Gonzalez. I know right now people are talking about him fighting Gaia Estrada in that much anticipated rematch, but this fight's going to be tough. You know, Israel Gonzalez, constant
I
pressure.
wish I had your name.
Israel
That'd be
Gonzalez
funny.
is huge for this weight class.
That
He's 5'6". Romo Gonzalez is 5'3". So that could present some stylistic problems for Charlo
wasn't even
because
gonna go from-
Israel
I didn't even
Gonzalez
know
can
that.
punch. He has the capability to move fighters backwards. And I've always said, if you cannot back up Romo Gonzalez, you cannot beat Romo Gonzalez. So I think this is a great fight for him.
Why does this happen to me?
I think it's another tough fight for him. We got to give Romo Gonzalez so much credit because this is the guy that even at his advanced age, for flyweights, at his advanced age of 31, 32, whatever it is, he's still taking on top competition. He fought Calify, somebody who was younger than him, the longest reigning world champion from the UK, whooped him. We're talking about a guy that's fought guys like Pedraza and McWilliams Arroyo, and he's fought Estrada and Rongbassai twice. I mean, this guy's resume is just chock full of names. If you're up in your boxing and the flyweight division, the super flyweight division, that Romo Gonzalez is fighting top fighters. And people who know about Israel Gonzalez, people who have watched him fight,
that's on me.
this is a guy that's been in there with good names. He's been in there with guys like German Ancajas. He fought Calify. This is someone that is not going to come here to lay down against Charlo. This is not someone that's going to be a cupcake voluntary defense for Charlo Gonzalez. So I'm happy to see this fight, and I'm happy to see that Romo Gonzalez
unfortunately, I'm gonna have to take
is going to be back in action. He's going to be back in action. That'll be next month, October 23rd. So we'll be live for that here on True School Sports. That'll be probably on the undercard of Gaia Estrada and Cuadras. You also have Julio Cesar Martinez. So, he wins that fight. We're talking about a potential rematch next to Gaia Estrada, and that's obviously, as far as the little guys go, as far as the flyweights and the super flyweights, that's the fight that everybody wants to see. But you gotta take care of what's in front of you, and he's got Israel Gonzalez, who's not going to be no cupcake opponent for Charlo. So I'm looking very forward to that. That's great news here on True School Sports that Romo Gonzalez is going to be back in the ring against the number 4 ranked Israel Gonzalez. Shout out to everybody here.
Nah, I don't want to do it.
Pink Panther, what's up, champ? How you living?
But yeah,
shout out to everybody here. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Letting y'all know in advance, I'm going to be live Saturday. Pretty much all day. I'll be live for Dorticos versus Breedis in the afternoon, and they'll be live for the Charlos at night. So make sure you guys make your plans. Come here on True School Sports. I'll actually be in Texas, so I'll be in Texas on one end, and my dad and Alex will be here in South Florida. We'll have both of us on the live, so it's gonna be a great time. But moving along, shout out to Jesus M. I'm gonna get to your comments in a second, Jesus. I just want to get through everything I want to get through because I do have a little bit I want to talk about. So the next thing I want to talk about, I want to show some local love. I want to show some local love right now because Thursday here in South Florida, there will be a card. And if I wasn't going to Texas on Thursday, I'd be covering this card, but I'll put it on screen. Boom. Thursday, we got this card right here. We got M&R Boxing Promotions, right? Local promotional company here in South Florida. I've covered a lot of their fights. Shout out to the fine folks over at M&R Boxing Promotions. They're going to have a couple of local fighters making their pro debuts. They're going to have Isaiah Night Thompson, who's from Dania Beach. He's a Dania Beach fighter. So shout out to Isaiah Night Thompson. He trains at my old stomping grounds, Canino's Boxing Gym. And he'll be making his pro debut. I've heard a lot of good things about this kid, Isaiah Night Thompson. In fact, hold on. Let me put that on the screen. Hold on. Hold on. So, October 24th, M&R Boxing Promotions. It's going to be an interesting. It's going to be an interesting occasion because if you're in the Miami area, basically what you can do is you won't be allowed to sit in seats or like bleachers or anything like that. But it's going to be like a movie theater style type of event. If you have a car, you can drive up to the amphitheater at the Miami-Dade County and Fair Exposition Center, and you can pretty much watch the fight from your car. And it's gonna be something quite different. So I like what M&R Boxing Promotions is doing in these very very trying times of COVID-19. Even though I don't really believe in COVID-19, I think it's bullshit. I really commend them because they've had so many shows fall through and so many shows get pushed back, and they're really trying to do their best for the local South Florida fight fans. So I'm looking forward to hearing about what goes on at the show. But there's a kid named Isaiah Night Night Thompson. Now this kid right here, Isaiah Night Night Thompson, this kid right here, talented kid from what I've heard. He's been getting a lot of. I've been hearing about him a lot through the grapevine here in South Florida. I heard he's got super speed, super power, and he'll be making his pro debut. And I want to show Isaiah some love because he trains at my own stopping grounds at Canino's boxing gym where I learned how to box. He's got my old trainer, Bonnie Canino. And I actually wanted to interview Isaiah Night Night Thompson this week, but I didn't get a chance to get down to Canino's because I had some other things I had to tend to. But I'm gonna have him on the channel at some point. But you can go watch the interview. He did do an interview with my friend Audrey at Autonomic Action Boxing. So go check that out over there. If you guys haven't heard of this channel, there's a channel called Autonomic Action Boxing. So go subscribe to Autonomic Action Boxing. And you can go watch this interview with Isaiah Night Night Thompson. And she, my friend Audrey, who runs that channel, she does a great job covering the South Florida boxing scene. She does an exceptional job covering the South Florida boxing scene. I'm going to even give her some high praise. I think she does just as good, if not a better job, of covering the local South Florida fight scene than I do. But she just doesn't have the subscriber count yet. So I want to get her subscriber count up because she does a great job. She puts a lot of effort into her videos. And just go subscribe to Autonomic Action Boxing because she's doing a great thing. But we got Isaiah Night Night Thompson fighting on that card. We also got on that same card, we got Roma Gonzalez's former sparring partner, Melvin Lopez. He's coming off of a loss, the first loss of his career. So he's looking to rebound in that fight. And then we got my boy Chris Otero. Shout out to Chris Otero from Kangaroo Boxing Gym. He's trained by Jorge Rubio. And he trains at Kangaroo Boxing Gym, but he also trains at the new MTK Global Miami Boxing Gym. So he's looking to get the second victory of his career. So yeah, if you're in the South Florida area, or if you're in the Florida area in general, and you want to make the long drive down to Miami, go down to the Miami-Dade County Fair and Exposition Center with your car, and you can go take in a night of world-class boxing. So yeah. Just wanted to throw that out there and show some love to M&R Boxing Promotions because they do put on good shows. They're fun shows to go to, and this one looks like it'll be no different. I wish I could be there. But let me see. Let me get back on camera. So there we go. Back on camera. Shout out to everybody here. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Moving on and switching gears to the next topic. We got the return of Filip Hrgovic. Now, those of you who watch this channel, you guys know that L-Dog, shout out to L-Dog. I mean, L-Dog ain't here right now, but if he watches this at some point, shout out to L-Dog. He's the president of the Filip Hrgovic fan club, and I'm the vice president. We support our main man, Filip Hrgovic. Now, he's going to be back in action on Saturday, the same day the Charlos are fighting, the same day that Josh Taylor is fighting, the same day that the World Boxing Super Series is going on. He's going to be back in action in Croatia. He's taking on a heavyweight by the name of Alexander Kartozia, 8-1 with 7 KOs from the country of Georgia, and this guy is 39 years old. I went ahead and I was doing a quick synopsis and a quick audit on his box rec, and I saw that of all the guys he fought, the only guy whose name I really recognized was Ricardo Schneiders. And Ricardo Schneiders is the guy that Daniel Dubois just fought recently and knocked out in one round. So that's the guy that's the most notable opponent that this dude fought, that Hrgovic's fighting, and he got knocked out by Ricardo Schneiders. He got folded up like a blue steel chair by Ricardo Schneiders. So it's obviously not going to be a fight where we see Hrgovic going there with a world beater or somebody who's like a top level fighter. This is clearly a fight for Hrgovic that's going to be just to dust off the cobwebs. It's only an 8-round fight, so take it for what it is. Hrgovic, it's good to see him back in action. He's someone that I believe will be challenging for world titles very soon. He's someone that I believe will be a big factor in the heavyweight division very soon, and I'm looking forward to. I'm looking for him to pretty much do a demolition job on this guy, to get him out of there, to really show his quality, to show that he's one of the best. He's one of the best young heavyweights in the world. So he'll be in action. Make sure you guys keep your eyes peeled for that. There's a lot of heavyweights in action this weekend. Notable ones. Obviously, we got Hrgovic. And then switching gears, we got our main man, Tony Yoka. Tony Yoka, the Frenchman, the gold medalist in the last Olympics. He's kind of been the overlooked fighter of all the fighters that won a gold medal in the last Olympics. He's been the guy that's been getting the least amount of hype because he had the whole PED thing. He hasn't really fought in America. He only had 7 fights. But Tony Yoka, he's in action this week as well. He's taking on Johan Duhaupas, the same Johan Duhaupas who's fought Deontay Wilder and who's fought a whole host of heavyweights, Alexander Povetkin. And it's probably the biggest name on his resume to date. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Yoka can do against Duhaupas. I mean, obviously Duhaupas has taken a lot of punishment in his career. I wouldn't expect Duhaupas to win this fight, but it's good to see that Yoka's in action. It's good to see that Yoka's fighting somebody that we know, and it's good to see that Yoka is going to be taking those steps, hopefully, to become the next heavyweight contender and maybe a heavyweight champion, because this was a guy that won a gold medal, and there are going to be eyes on him. So we'll have our eyes peeled on that. And then also, I haven't talked about this fight at all, so I'm actually going to camp out here for a second. I'm going to camp out on this fight for a second, okay? Because I didn't talk about this fight at all. I didn't make a video about this fight. I haven't had a chance to get my thoughts out there on this fight. But Saturday afternoon, we had the much anticipated World Boxing Super Series final for the second season of the World Boxing Super Series, featuring Junior Dorticos and Marius Briedis. Okay, now, these are 2 guys last year in the first season of the World Boxing Super Series that lost in the semifinal. Dorticos got knocked out brutally by Murat Gassiev, and Marius Briedis lost and got completely outclassed by Alexander Usyk. Usyk did a good job in that fight of stepping up the pace the more and more the rounds went on. You see what I'm saying? But this is a good fight. And yesterday I was rewatching some Marius Briedis fights because he's one of these guys that I had to refresh myself on. And one thing that kind of stands out to me about Marius Briedis is the fact that he's someone that will do whatever it takes to win. He'll do whatever it takes to win. There is nothing that Marius Briedis will not do to win. He will elbow you. He will hit you in the nuts. He'll hit you on your quads. He will headbutt you if he has to. He's one of those type of fighters that does not care about getting a little bit down and dirty. And aside from that, aside from the dirty tactics that he does employ in his fights, Marius Briedis is a guy that can fight his ass off. This is a guy that, if you allow him to get close to you, he can throw really good body shots. He throws really good punches coming down the middle. And I'm very interested to see how Dorticos deals with the pressure and the roughhouse tactics of a guy like Briedis. Dorticos, on the other hand, he's a guy that I think is coming into his own. He's got a good right hand. He's got a solid jab. They call him the KO doctor for a reason. This fight for both of these guys is going to be the career-defining fight of their careers, because both these guys are fighters that had maybe 1 or 2 quality wins, but the resumes aren't. There's not a whole lot of depth in the resumes. Dorticos was my initial pick for this fight, and I was watching Briedis yesterday, and Briedis, I'm not gonna lie to you, Briedis gave me some second thoughts as to whether or not I should pick Dorticos, because Briedis fights very, very hard, and Briedis did a lot better against Usyk than I remembered. I still think Usyk beat him pretty convincingly, but he fought a lot better than I remember him fighting against Alexander Usyk. You see what I'm saying? But I got I'm gonna stick my initial pick. I'm gonna go with Junior Dorticos. This is a guy that has fight-changing punching power. He's got a good jab to set up the punching power. And Briedis is someone that he's right there in front of you. He's not going anywhere. He's not gonna be stepping around you. He's not gonna be showing you any kind of crazy angles or anything like that. He's gonna be there to be hit. And Junior Dorticos is not a guy that you can just be there in front of to get hit by. So I think there's going to be some great exchanges in this fight. I think we're going to see potentially the fight of the year in this fight. I think the styles had the chance to mesh really well. And I'm only expecting one result in this fight. That's a knockout. And I'm going to go with Junior Dorticos knocking out Marius Briedis with a right hand. But hell of a fight. Good to see that both these guys are back in action. And that this fight's finally happening. And may the best man win. So you have that. You also have the top rank card. The top rank card. Josh Taylor. He's fighting the guy from Thailand, whose name I'm not even gonna try to pronounce right now, but you guys know who I'm talking about. He's fighting that guy from Thailand, and this guy he's fighting from Thailand is 16-0 at 13 knockouts. And this guy's he's not a bad fighter. He beat a guy that we know, at least that I know. He fought a guy that I know in Akiri Kondo. Many of you guys may remember a couple of years ago. Akiri Kondo was a Japanese fighter who came to America. He fought Sergey Lipinets on the undercard of Deontay Wilder versus Romain Stavern 2, gave him a great fight. You know, I actually thought he beat Lipinets, but it was a close fight. He fought very well. He gave a good account of himself. This guy that Taylor's fighting fought Akiri Kondo and stopped him. So that lets me know that he's at least at a certain level, that he's not a scrub, he's not a slouch. I watched a bit of tape on him. He got good timing. He's obviously got respectable punching power. So it's not a fight that Josh Taylor could just go in and overlook. You know, obviously it'd be easy to overlook this guy because of the fact that, you know, he's got that big matchup with Jose Ramirez looming on the table. You know, if he wins this fight, the next fight might be Jose Ramirez for undisputed. And, you know, as a fighter, when you have the potential for a big fight, the potential for an undisputed fight on the table, it's very, 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 very easy to overlook a guy who's just 16-0. He's not a big name, and really not performing your best. So listen, I think Josh Taylor is going to win because I think the world of Josh Taylor. I think that Josh Taylor is not someone to be overlooked. I think Josh Taylor is, as far as I'm concerned, aside from Tyson Fury, he's a pound best fighter in the UK right now. And yeah, I think he's gonna win. But you know what? I'm gonna put him on upset alert. I'm gonna put him on upset alert because this guy can fight. It's very difficult to stay focused when you have a fight like Jose Ramirez for undisputed on the table. So I'm putting him on upset alert because of these things, because of the external factors, because of the fact that we also have to factor in that this is Josh Taylor's first fight with new trainer Ben Davison. And I'm not going to say that this fight was the worst time for him to make a trainer switch because of COVID and they've had time to work together. But I will say that sometimes before you go into a fight or before you go into these big fights, it's not good to change your trainer because then you're learning new habits in the gym. You're implementing new things in the gym, and these things are clashing with the things you already know. And Josh Taylor is already an undefeated fighter. He's already somebody that's looked impressive in most of his fights. He's already somebody that's proven himself to be one of the best fighters in boxing. I honestly don't even know why he switched to Ben Davison. No disrespect to Ben Davison, but Ben Davison is a guy. I mean, if we look at his very brief career as a trainer, as a top flight trainer, he makes his fighters fight with very conservative tactics. You know, when Tyson Fury fought Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury was fighting with very conservative tactics. His instructions are always to fight conservatively, and that's not always a good thing. You know, sometimes you go to somebody and walk them down. And Josh Taylor is somebody that does do that. He's a big 140-pounder. He's got exceptional speed. He's got great boxing ability. So do you really want to make him a more conservative fighter? Because I think by doing that, you're taking away one of the best things about Josh Taylor, which is his ability to finish fighters, his ability to break fighters down, dissect them, you know? So for these reasons, for the trainer switch, for the level of opponent, and because the Ramirez fight is looming, I am putting Josh Taylor on upset alert, but I do think he will win a decision victory. So that's what it is there. All right. Now, obviously, we have a lot of fights that are going on that Charlo undercard. I mean, we gotta give credit to Al Heyman. You know, Al Heyman is a blessing to the sport of boxing. Like the great Keith Thurman said, Al Heyman is a blessing to the sport of boxing And on the undercard of the Charlos, we've got John Rio Casimiro, the return of John Rio Casimiro, the WBO bantamweight champion of the world, a guy that is not to be fucked with, a guy that can punch pound for pound as hard as anybody in boxing. John Rio Casimiro is back. John Rio Casimiro is looking to make a statement, and John Rio Casimiro is taking on Duke Micah from Ghana now. Duke Micah, not a bad fighter. This is a guy that hasn't really fought top opposition. This is a guy in Duke Micah who was a 2012 or 2016 Olympian for Ghana. He was an Olympian in 2016. Yeah, he was a 2016 Olympian for Ghana. So he's decent amateur, 2016 Olympian. He fought Michael Conlan in those Olympics, lost to Michael Conlan pretty wide. And this is a fight for him where he's got everything to gain, nothing to lose. Casimiro's got everything to lose because Casimiro could still go on to potentially fight Nayo Monster Inoue. Casimiro was supposed to fight Nayo Monster Inoue, but they pretty much scrapped that fight because of COVID. So for those of you guys who are watching this, the 80 of you that are watching this right now that aren't too familiar with John Rio Casimiro, this is a guy that is one of the most entertaining fighters to watch in boxing. He's 118 pounds, but he punches like a 154 pounder. He's got extremely, extremely hard punching power. I've seen him train in the gym. Go check it out on True School Sports. There's training footage and an interview I did with him here. If you go on my channel and just type in his name. The guy got serious pop. The guy's got great power. The guy can really fight. And I think that this is a very, very underrated fighter on the undercard of the Charlo Rosario fight, because obviously the talk of the Charlo Rosario card is going to be the main events. The Charlo's taking on Derevyanchenko and Rosario respectively, but do not overlook John Rio Casimiro. He might steal the show with a knockout, with a big time knockout. I mean, this is a guy that anytime he fights, no matter who he's fighting, anytime he fights, he's got a chance to deliver the knockout of the year. Because if you look at his career, he's had knockout of the year quality type knockouts, and this is a guy that is a real fighter. He's been champion early in his career. He lost, came back, became champion, lost again, became champion again. This is a fighter that you got to respect. You got to respect John Rio Casimiro. So, shout out to him. He'll be on the undercard. He'll be on the undercard of this weekend. I don't want you guys to overlook John Rio Casimiro. Shout out to my man El Jefe of the MXBC. Shout out to the MXBC, the Mexican boxing community. We got another fight, a crossroads fight. We got Daniel Roman taking on Juan Carlos Payano. Another great fight. Payano is on the downside of his career. This is a fight that he really needs to win to get back into world title contention and be a factor at 122. Daniel Roman, on the other hand, he fought earlier this year. He had that fight with Mirjan Akhmadaliev, and he lost to Mirjan Akhmadaliev. So this is his first fight back, and he's got to win. He's got to win. He's got to win, and I think this is a good fight because when we talk about Payano can throw a lot of punches. Roman comes to fight, he throws a lot of punches. So another good fight on the card. You can't overlook this fight. Know what I'm saying? Another thing I want you guys to look out for on this card is Bakram Letsiev. He's the number one. He's ranked number one in the IBF. So he's fighting some on the card, some guy who has like 8 losses on this card. If he wins that fight, he might want to be a mandatory for that card. So for those guys, so that's what it is there. But that's my little synopsis on the week ahead. There's obviously a lot of boxing that's taking place in the near future. I'm looking really forward to it. I want to get my predictions out there again before I get off the live because I'm not trying to make this live too long today. Because I'm not even home. I'm right now. I'm in West Palm Beach. I live all the way in North Miami, so I gotta take the train back home and run a bunch of errands and whatnot. So we're not trying to make this live too long today. But what I'll say is my predictions. You guys already know. I'm picking Jason Rosario to punch a hole right through Jermell Charlo. I think he's gonna beat the fuck out of Jermell Charlo.
That guy. Oh man, that was scary.
I'll say it like that. I can't say it no more clearly. And no more bluntly other than that, I think Jason Rosario is going to beat the dog shit out of Jamel Charlo. And I know a lot of people are saying Jamel Charlo is different and all this stuff, but just watch. I'll have another video coming out on this where I'll say more, but Jamel Charlo will be defeated by Jason Rosario, and I believe Jamal Charlo will get a very close decision victory against Sergey Derevyanchenko. So shout out to everybody here. Shout out to El Jefe, Jesus M. Jesus M. He asked the question, do I train boxing every single day? No, I don't. In fact, to be honest with you, I haven't even been training that. I haven't been exercising a lot recently. I've been in my house a lot, just editing videos and sleeping pretty much. So I'm going to Dallas on Thursday, and I'll be in Dallas from Thursday to Sunday. So when I get back from Dallas, I gotta really buckle down and start working out consistently. Shout out to Jairo. Shout out to my man Jairo. Jairo says Ali Ramey is the truth. Julio says Martinez ducked him. That's right, champ. They didn't want no smoke with Ali Ramey.
Oh my God.
But yeah, man. Shout out to everybody here, man. I'm gonna get off because I gotta get on the train and go home all the way down to North Miami. But last reminder,
that should have been me going.
I'll be live multiple times for many hours on Saturday for both Doticos Breeders and both Charlo Rosario fights. So y'all be there for that. Y'all make your plans for that. Shout out to everybody who continues to support the channel. I'm like less than 700,000 views away from hitting 20 million. So when I hit 20 million views, we're going to do a 20 million view live special. And I'm going to go live for like 10, 12 hours. We're going to do one of those like marathons that I used to do during the early parts of quarantine. So when I hit 20 million views, we'll do the 20 million view live special. And I'm going to get off, guys. So yeah, you guys, God bless everybody watching this. You guys be good with your days and whatnot. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just kidding. So until next time, take care, guys.
Right here, bro.